What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about Palantir. I want to go over what is happening to Palantir, go over some of the data points, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is up 1.91%, a fair amount of volume, a little bit low, I guess, in comparison to the average. So 60.81 million shares being traded, 81 is the average. And when it comes down to it, these are all the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market. Frequency is down, but the volume, I guess, is up, if that makes sense. So as you can see, a lot of the bigger players are getting in, and based on the bid and the ask, majority of these are buys. And just on a side note, even just looking here, a lot of the growth stocks and spec plays are all just red today. A lot of fear in the market, Evergrande, and especially with the recent credit card data that's been coming out. I think there's a lot of people that are fearful, but of course, when it comes down to Palantir, it going up, it clearly shows that someone, a bigger player, is getting in. And like I said, you can tell that based on the volume. As far as this, these are all the transactions that have occurred on the dark pool, which is still very, very popular. But one thing I just wanted to explain to you is someone really does want Palantir to go up. And there's no real rhyme or reason, so there isn't any news that's been coming out from Palantir itself, no SEC filings or anything like that. But if you look at the daily volume, so normally on a typical day, 55.45% of the volume, overall volume, I guess more specifically, is redirected off exchange to the dark pool, on which anything being done through the dark pool doesn't actually move the stock price at all. But versus today, 47.83%. So someone behind the scenes, maybe from the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, GSM, does want potentially Palantir to go up. Maybe Cathie Woods, because I'm sure she does have a lot of big contacts at a lot of big market makers. Who knows? Last time that she did buy was on August the 8th and August the 9th. So right after this dip right here, which potentially, or actually, sorry, during this dip, as I should say, but definitely since then, it has gone down quite a lot in comparison, and it is kind of on a teetering point a little bit based on the technicals still. So if I was Cathie, you never know, you could be seeing some purchases after hours because she always sends those emails out near the tail end of the day as far as the transaction. So time will tell, but clearly behind the scenes, it's a very good indication that someone, a big player, wants Palantir to go up today for some reason. Maybe it's options related, and that's been one thing that there's been a lot of articles that's been coming out today is associated to options, that there's a lot of abnormal options activity. So today, so far, we're about 20 minutes left into the trading day, but $16 million in calls being purchased versus 11 million in puts. So based on this, people are anticipating for it to trend up significantly, at least in the short term. And as far as this, so if you are optimistic, looking at this grid view right here, based on all the calls, this has the strike prices, expiry dates, it is anticipated for next week to kind of rebound between the $14.50 and $16. So kind of from here and more positive, which matches this data right here. Let me know you guys' thoughts. On a side note, options activity does not move the stock price. It is just merely a sentiment. And as well, I'm not a financial advisor. When it comes down to Palantir though, there hasn't been any recent analysts. Last one being, it looks like a sell rating from William Blair, Louise, whatever their name is. They do have a pretty good rating, success rating, so 63%. So that's something just to consider. The last one being Goldman Sachs was roughly 7 days ago, was a hold and $11 target. If you're looking for a lot of good compiled information such as this, whether it be analyst ratings, forecasts, or latest Morningstar reports, take a look at Interactive Brokers. I have a link to them in the description below and also the comments. So take advantage of all this information while you can. And yeah, it has a lot of good information. And plus, on a side note, it's completely free to have all this. But still, moving on from all of this, I think a lot of people as well are starting to look at a lot of just the details. And what I mean by that, for instance, is the technicals. So looking on the technicals, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. It is kind of wedge bound between that 50 and 100-day moving average. And even looking at some of the fib levels is pretty widespread. And that's something I did bring up over the last couple of videos, is just the fact that you have to anticipate there's going to be a lot of volatility. And that's more of an understatement. So as you can see, with it being at $14.45, it is between this S3 and S2. So $12.78 is that next big support. $14.83 is that next big resistance. And I do feel that since it didn't really bounce off of a support level, it just randomly in between bounced off of that and started to trend higher, because the low today was $13.68. And like I mentioned, no news whatsoever. So I do feel that it's just simply someone just redirecting all the volume from the day to just the main markets, which of course does influence the stock price in a positive way. So like I said, I think someone bigger does want Palantir to go up. Who? That is the $1 million question. Based on the latest round of 13Fs, you do see a ton of institutions increasing their position throughout Q2. And of course, the green ones are brand new positions. So you do see National Pension Service, 2.4 million shares. And then there's obviously a lot of ETFs as well. But I do feel that it's going to be done either after hours today, or if not on Monday. That is where potentially BlackRock, the big old BlackRock, will be disclosing their position. And I do feel that most likely they would have increased their position similar to what Vanguard did. So let me know you guys' thoughts on that. And where do you guys see things going? Because I do feel, given the circumstances of the market, I feel that there is still going to be a further downtrend, but I don't feel that it's going to break this 1278. I feel like based on the last couple of earnings, they've really signaled that they are going to be moving upwards and that they're having a ton of deals and agreements just on a continuous basis, and that's going to be sufficient for a huge amount of time, for decades on out, because I think the costs associated to cancel and to rotate out of Palantir is just astronomical. So I think Palantir is really locking in all the necessary future revenue that people are really going to look at. But a couple other things I just wanted to share with you. So looking at the momentum indicator, shows number of retail investors are currently getting out and have been for, it looks like, since the 16th, so the last couple of days. I'm not necessarily sure why, but it seems to be kind of significant. And stochastic is currently at 9, so that's considered no defined trend, but it is considered oversold. So this is where I think Palantir is getting a little bit of an extra boost as a result. So do you think, for instance, we're going to see the $12 range or mid 12s, or do you think we're going to go back to the $16 similar to what the options activity is pointing to? So what's your viewpoint on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And take advantage of free promos while you can. And that one is with Moomoo. Completely free to open up an account, but if you do throw $100 at the account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock could be valued up to $2,000, and you also do get a $50 cash reward. So this is one of the best deals that you can get. Unfortunately, this is only available for Americans. If you are Canadian, for instance, Moomoo is actually heading to Canada, so they're doing a soft launch in October. So you can have access to their website, and by signing up, all you need is just your phone number. No other information is required, and by signing up, you can enter for a chance to win some other Tim's gift card, Amazon, or many other things. So once again, let me know you guys' thoughts. The link to this is in the description below and also the comments. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's make a ton of money on Palantir.